In the Middle East, John McCain dissed here in the United States by one of the country's most famous newspapers. We're getting both perspectives on these topics and more. From the right, we're joined by Joe Pags. He's a conservative radio talk show host and fills in for Glenn Beck on occasion. And from the left, liberal radio talk show host Stephanie Miller. Good morning to both of you. Stephanie.
Good morning, John.
Let's start with you, Stephanie. John McCain's substantial advantage, at least in terms of public opinion, over Barack Obama in terms of who would be the better commander-in-chief. This current trip that he's on to Iraq, Afghanistan, the Middle East and Europe, is that going to change perceptions?
I think it may be changing as we're speaking, John, considering that al-Maliki has endorsed basically Barack Obama's plan for Iraq, as has the White House, whether they're calling it a horizon or a timetable, whatever they're calling it. John McCain is the straggler here, I think. He's the elderly relative that you lose track of and is straggling behind.
Joe, you going to let that pass?
He'll catch up.
Oh, I'm not going to let it pass. I got to tell you something, John, Stephanie. To attack John McCain's age constantly is really just getting rude. I mean, in this country, why is it okay to attack this guy because he's 72 years old? Barack Obama is out here. He's like somebody who's reading a script or playing a movie role. I'm not impressed by him flying around in a helicopter. And for the last time I checked, Nouri al-Maliki is not the guy who's going to tell me how to decide my vote in November.
Right. And, yeah, we should mention, too, Joe Pags is joining us via an internet connection this morning.
Right.
Sounding a wee bit choppy. We apologize for that, Joe. Hopefully it's going to clear up. Stephanie, Barack Obama said in an interview with my colleague Terry Moran of ABC that if he had to do it all over again, he would still oppose the surge. Now, some Democrats are perplexed about this, saying that he was wrong about the surge, but he won't admit it.
Well, you know, I'd rather have someone that was right about the war in the first place. We shouldn't have been in there at all.
Yeah, but what about the surge?
John, how do you argue a hypothetical? How do you go back and go, oh, if you hadn't done this or this would have happened?
But Stephanie, it was a very clear question. If you had it to do all over again, would you have still voted against the surge? And he said, yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You're arguing a hypothetical, John. I'd rather have his judgment on this than John McCain, who wants to stay in Iraq 100 years, 1,000 years, who says it's not so important when the troops come home. When can you come home? I mean, if we've won, he says we've won, we've succeeded. So when do we get to come home?
That entire argument is such a red herring. First of all, it's not a hypothetical. We know the surge worked because the surge was implemented. Thank goodness. Even though Barack Obama wasn't for it. To say that he wasn't for the war from the beginning, he was a state senator in Illinois. He had nothing to say about the war before it happened, at least not on an official basis. The surge did work. This whole argument about John McCain wanted to stay there for 100, if not 1,000 years, that's a ruse as well. Not to fight a war, but just to have a presence there like we have in South Korea or Japan or Western Europe. Let's stop that whole lie. Stephanie knows it. Everybody on the left knows it. John McCain doesn't want to stay there and fight a war for 1,000 years. Let's stop that garbage, okay?
Right. Let me ask you, Joe, about John McCain and this op-ed in the New York Times. The New York Times told him go back and try it again. Give us something that looks like a plan for Iraq and Afghanistan. The McCain campaign is incensed about the rejection, saying, quote, this is Rick Davis. He asked supporters to counteract the liberal establishment and fight back against the New York Times by making an immediate contribution to the campaign. Now, Ben Stein was on Larry King Live last night. He said, doesn't seem like anything out of the ordinary to me. I've done op-eds for the New York Times, and there's a lot of back and forth.
Well, I was surprised by it because what we hear is that Barack Obama, when he submitted his op-ed, there was no back and forth. So we've got to either have fair play. Look, I'm just happy, John, that it's out there that the New York Times did this. I'm not surprised by it. Many people watching this morning are surprised by their reaction. John McCain should have every right to counteract what Barack Obama said in his op-ed. And the New York Times, showing its true political colors, is not a fair newspaper. It really never has been. I'm just really happy that we got the backstory on this one.
So, Stephanie, last word here. Did Obama get a free ride by the New York Times and they're applying a different standard to McCain?
Oh, please. Joe's just whining because John McCain has to go to summer school. So what? This is the New York Times that endorsed John McCain, that printed every single bogus WMD claim that the Bush administration dictated to Judy Miller. This is not a liberal paper. They made some very good points that he addressed no points for what his strategy is, what winning means. Like I say, any parent watching knows that you don't whine when you have to do a do-over.
Since when does the New York Times set policy? The New York Times should either accept it or don't ask for it.
All right. Stephanie Miller, Joe Pags, good to see you this morning. Thanks very much, Joe. We'll try to get a better connection next time. We apologize for that.
All right, and now...